Welcome to part 11 of the ASUN preseason breakdown. Almost completely through now. Hope you've been enjoying the series so far. We're going to start by talking about the starting five for the ASUN champions from last year, the postseason champions. That's the Stetson Hatters. And this is their projected starting five for now. The spot at the number one is a question mark right now as to who it's going to be. Mekhi Ellison started their first preseason game, then ended up moving to the bench for their second one, but played really well in their second game. Jamie Phillips, the high school player from Winter Haven, that's also a Florida school. He ended up moving into the starting lineup for him. Also played really well. He played well in both of their preseason games. And then you got Abramo Kanka from Wake Forest. He's a transfer coming in. He also transferred from UCLA the year prior to Wake Forest. He was not a big part of Wake Forest's good team last year that they had, but he is a second-round projected pick in the NBA draft for this year. You can see those numbers do not translate to a second-round pick, but he is projected to be that. Then you got Josh Massey, who's coming from Wingate. That's an NCAA Division II team. He was on the SAC first team last year. Then you got Jordan Wood coming over from Tulane, who was on the Howard Bison team that made the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. He was also part of their starting five, which was a bit of a shock to me. I did not expect him to be in the starting five over Tristan Gross, who's going to be a solid contributor off the bench. And then you got Trayton Thompson, who's going to step up and probably fill out a starting spot this year after being on the bench last year. But there's a lot of question marks on this team this year. But a lot of guys that are grown in-house. You got Alex Doyle, Finley Sheridan, Landon Abusiek, who I think is all bigs that are going to end up, taking a step forward this year. Stefan Alesso coming in from high school. Daniel McGregor from high school. I've talked about pretty much everyone on the team, except for Isaac Jones and Blaze Sagna, who I don't think will do too much. I think Sagna might contribute as an end of the bench guy. But this is a deep team, in my opinion, despite being unproven. And that's my takeaway from them. I don't know, Dad. Do you have any agreements at all? What do you think about this team?
I think you nailed it really well. I'm a little concerned about Kanka's ability to carry this team. I think you're right that he needs to, based on his experience. But I'm just concerned that he's transferred twice, didn't really play a whole lot. And is a wrong expectation or a bad expectation to see that he can carry it, how far he can carry this club from an offensive perspective. So a lot of turnover from last year. Like you said, even though they had won the postseason tournament, I don't know.
They don't have a lot of those guys left though.
Right, exactly. That's right. So big turnover, so that's where I'm at with it.
One of the few teams that has depth at big, though. They're one of the only teams in the conference that has big man depth.
That's true. Exactly.
Which, as we know, guard depth traditionally contributes to postseason success. But for being a team that's going to be bigger than everyone else, I think that's going to help out a lot.
Certainly a differentiator from pretty much every other team we talked about, right? There's hardly any teams where we said, wow, look at all the centers or the bigs that they can go 3 deep at power forward, at 3, 4, 5 kind of thing. This club has some difference there for sure. So how well do they take advantage of that?
Yes. Yeah,
I agree. Today's game, it's important. You got to have all 5 spots working, but
I think they I love the point guards that if Jamie Phillips does end up playing point guard, which he might, I think he's going to be he might be freshman of the year candidate, would be my guess. But I love Mekhi Ellison. His 28 points per game. Of course, it was JUCO D2 at Mott Community College, but 28 points per game, and you're adding 4.5 assists each night. That shows that you're moving the ball and you're getting yours. And I love what this guy's going to be able to bring for the team as a probably a sixth man based on the fact that Phillips ended up starting in the last preseason game and played well in both. But right. I think he might be sixth man of the year candidate in the A-Sun.
So they lack a pure point guard, though, right? I mean, this club doesn't.
Ellison's a point guard. Ellison's a
point guard.
He's 6 foot. He's 4.5 assists a night. That's good for college numbers. But yes, he also is a scoring point guard. He's not a traditional point guard.
Exactly. I mean, same with Jamie Phillips. He's more of a shooter scorer.
Yes.
Right. That I have a background information, not necessarily a pure point guard, distribute the ball, drive.
No, and he's a big point guard too. He's 6'5".
Yeah. Right. So just a different style team for sure. So again, can they coach? Can Donnie Jones coach around those talents? Take advantage of the mismatches he has here. Ball again for me, just turnover, ball control, ball handling, and all that kind of stuff. To me, are where I think they're going to struggle. I have them actually slotted as the seventh, finishing seventh in the conference regular season.
Well, they were predicted 8th and 6th by the coaches and media, so
split the difference here.
You're right smack dab in the middle of them. So I guess that's a good prediction.
It is a prediction. I just think they're going to struggle there with ball. Hopefully they can prove me wrong. And honestly, if they can settle their ball handling and play distribution, game management stuff with the ball, and take advantage of their mismatches, they certainly could climb. Yes, absolutely. They've got the history to it to do so. I just think it's going to be a struggle for them a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this team's going to struggle a little bit, but I think they're going to get those kinks out early. There's a lot of skill on this team, and that's why I have them finishing second, which is completely against the grain. But I think that Donnie's team from last year, that winning mentality, is going to carry over to this year. I expect this team to be a very competitive team all season long. One of the few teams that starts 2 guys over 6'10" in their starting lineup. I think that size is going to contribute a lot to getting possessions. Josh Massey as well, who was only 6'6", their starting 3. He had 7 rebounds per game in D2 last year, on top of scoring 17 points per game. So this team has a lot of scoring potential. Obviously, Kank is a big unknown, but he's got all the skill on paper and from the eye test, just not from the statistics category.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think this team's scary this year, and I think they're being criminally underrated.
Nice. Well, I love it. Look, great prediction right there. Fantastic.
We'll see. We'll see if my bold prediction pays off.
Doesn't pay off for us either way, so it doesn't really matter. It's all about what they do.
It pays off for my ego, okay?
That's right. Like fantasy football. Almost.
Exactly. Oh, gosh.
Or
Don't even
fantasy
get me
sport.
started. All right. Well, that's going to conclude episode 11. One more episode to go. One new team in the conference this year. You may have noticed Kennesaw State was not covered. That's because they're not here anymore. Instead, this new team will be filling their spot in the A-Sun. We'll talk about them in the next episode. Check it out.